I have absolutely no clue how Paul Chua was able to pull this off. We have Paul Chua in semifinals, and they're going up against a matchup that I have no faith in. I see their team, which is right here: Raging Bolt, Rillaboom, Ogre Pump, Heart Flame, Urshifu Rapid Strikes, Fluttermane, and Incineroar. And I look at their opponent, which is right here, Francesco, with Chimpao, Urshifu Rapid Strikes, Thundurus, Dragonite, Gouging Fire, and Tinglu. And I'm thinking to myself, how are they going to beat them? Let alone that Francesco was having a phenomenal run. A phenomenal run. They were playing out of their mind. I thought Francesco was going to make it all the way to the end. But the GOAT of VGC, or one of them, because look at all the accomplishment. EUIC champion in London in 2023. London World's top 4 in 2022. Toronto regional finalist. This was recent. 6 times regional champion. They have been around. Very good player. I would say they are probably one of the closest with Riley Factor, I think, in regional wins to Wolf. And then we have Francesco Pio Pero. A really good player. Really, really good player. Top 8 at NAIC. Stuttgart regional finalist. That means he got second. Honolulu top 64 at Worlds. And Online Player Cup 3 top 8. Whatever that is. Because I don't know what that was in 2021. They are a good player, right? But you look at the matchup, and in my head I'm like, Bolt Balance versus the Bulk squad. Icicle Crash deals with Rillaboom, deals with Raging Bolt. It can do a lot of damage to Fluttermane. Then we have Urshifu to clean up the Incineroar. If we're doing the bulky Flutter, which I don't think this is, we'll watch here in a minute. We have literal Thundurus on the other side with Prankster. We have Dragonite, who can just kind of take over the game as well with all the... I think this is Extreme Speed set. We just looked at it right now. Let me double check. Oh. Yeah, it has Extreme Speed on it. Gouging Fire is just here to be annoying with Terra Fairy, so it is just a team that is meant to just stick around. Let's get into the action. This is going to be at 2x the speed. I'm going to go ahead and take off the noise. You guys are just going to hear my commentary. So we can also take this as my application to be a commenter. I saw this kind of in and out, so I'm going to do my best to see it as fresh eyes. But you can see my boy here everywhere praying to God. He's like, man, it's Paul Chua. I need all the help I can get. And here we go. We're going to go ahead and start off with Thundurus on their side. And then we're going to see Paul here with Raging Bolt and Incineroar. Raging Bolt can be detrimental here for them. What are they going to do? What is Paul going to do? I just think that it's one of those situations where Paul needs to play every turn perfect. They bring in Rillaboom to pressure because obviously they don't want to lose their Incineroar. Eerie Pulse is something that you don't want to have to deal with if you're a special attacker. Here we go. 3 hits. Does about like 25%. Dragon Pulse, after the Eerie Pulse, only does like a quarter as well. Paul, how are you going to do this? This team is basically designed to beat Bolt Balance. Urshifu withdraws. Alright, Urshifu withdraws. And in comes Gouging Fire. Again, Gouging Fire, super effective now against that team. They just... Thunder Wave. Oh, here comes the Dragon Pulse. It does about half. Woodhammer does about 10%, 15%. Are they going to burn the Terra? Francesco, are you burning the Terra? Paul, what are you doing? What are you going to do? They doubled into that slot. They expected the switch. They got that correct. Big damage. But Thunderous has just kind of been sitting here, ear pulsing and thunder waving away at whatever is on the other side. In comes Incineroar. Intimidating, bringing back down that gouging fire. Eerie Pulse again. They're making sure that Raging Bolt is useless. Dragon Pulse does not connect. It is literally -6. I think I saw that. Paul, how do you break yourself out of this? No one has lost anybody yet. Everyone is in a good position. The protects have been crucial here for them to be able to survive. Thunderous switches out. In comes Urshifu. Howl goes through. They are raising up the attack on Urshifu. Dragon Pulse is able to do another 15%. But that parting shot, crucial. Now, I think they're back to neutral. In comes Rillaboom. They're swapping, and they're faking out the gouging fire. Again, this is just one of those matchups where they're going to have to continually switch in and out. Like, I don't see another way for Paul to win this unless they pick and choose their moments. Obviously, that is what Balanced kind of does. A double protect from Francesco. Francesco's playing very passive here. And I get it. Like, Paul is cycling in that Incineroar like it's Tuesday afternoon laundry. But he has to look for some offense. 11-2, both of them going 11-2. Let's see what they do. Paul is just kind of like, what do I do? What is going on? He's thinking. Howl comes through. They're trying to make sure that Urshifu has some boosts. Surging Strikes, connects, is going to finish off the Gouging Fire. Gouging Fire did absolutely nothing, in my opinion, during this match, besides the boosts. But look how much the boosts do. A little bit more than normal on Rillaboom. They have to be going up against Rillaboom. And Woodhammer's just going to knock it out. Clean. They got rid of two threats. Just right back to back. Here comes Thunderous. Ting Lu. Now what do they do, right? Ting Lu is something you wanted against Raging Bolt in the back because it can only get hit by Dragon Pulse. And now Incineroar is going to come in. Thunderous has really nothing that they can do into these guys to really do a lot of damage. Maybe into Urshifu, but besides that, after the switch, I don't think they have much. In comes Incineroar, lowering the attack. Clear Amulet. They can't lower that guy's attack. Terastallization comes through into poison so that we can't be one shot here by... But they don't even go for it. Urshifu is going straight for Thunderous. That is exactly how they're going to win this, by making sure that they just don't let them get any offense off. Finally, they pick up one KO, and it is on their Urshifu. In comes Rillaboom, resetting Grassy Surge. Fake out pressure, but what did they go for? Even though I'm speeding this up, it's still kind of slow. Straight up fake out. Perfect. And now it's just another fake out. At this point, Francesco needs to be thinking about game 2. What can I do game 2? How can I deal with this kind of things? Let me see maybe what kind of damage some of my attacks from this Ting Lu do. How much I'll do, what I can kind of expect. Okay, knockoff goes straight into it. Clear Amulet is gone. Throat Chop does a good little chunk. Not enough for them to be able to think they can climb back into the game. Battle was canceled. Okay, game 1, straight to Paul. Again, when I saw the matchup, I'm like, no, they have so many tools to take out their Bolt, to take out their stuff. They didn't even bring Chien-Pao. I get that Urshifu is hard for them Incineroar is hard for them. But also under the right position, that Chien-Pao can do a lot of damage to Paul's Pokemon and can apply a lot of pressure. Let's see what happens in game 2. Paul right now is 1-up. I really expected a little bit more pressure from the Gouging Fire. We saw a little bit, but we didn't see enough. I really expected them to maybe do a little bit more with their Dragonite. They didn't even bring Dragonite or Chien-Pao to that first match. Let's go ahead and see how they adjust in game 2. Paul is right now 1-up. I think this is going to be a crazy game. Very similar leads for Francesco. They end up bringing Urshifu. They end up bringing Thundurus. And then Intimidated and swapped right into Rillaboom. Then we have Thunder Wave right into Rillaboom, which is so much better than last time. We get about 60% of the HP gone. Surging Strikes right back into Paul's Urshifu. It does about 35%, I would say, maybe 40. After recovery, it's more like 30. Now we have the opportunity for them to use Fake Out with the Rillaboom and keep on applying pressure, right? What is gonna be the option here? Because Paul could also choose to just go for Woodhammer and take out that Urshifu, right? Thunder Wave into Urshifu is very predictable. Surging Strike still comes through. Does a good chunk of damage. They're going to be about half after recovery. Woodhammer. Ooh, into the Tornadus. Expecting maybe a switch. Straight demolished it. And in comes Gouging Fire. Again, Francesco is playing defensively, doing a little bit of offense into things that aren't super effective. And I think Paul is just like, I'm going to sit in front of them with my Rillaboom, who's super effective. I'm going to sit in front of them with my Urshifu, who crits 3 times per attack, and just take them down little by little, bit by bit. At this point, it's 4 against 2. Dragonite and Gouging Fire. Paul has Incineroar, Rillaboom, and Urshifu, the VGC core, out right now. And in comes Incineroar again, lowering the attack of both of these physical attackers. Paul protecting, Hal coming through, but they're back at neutral, right? They're back at neutral. Scale shots coming through, defense is going to fall, speed is going to go up, but will it be enough? Hit 5 times, and look how little damage it did to this Incineroar, not even half. We're going to see Surging Strikes go right into that Dragonite. And I just see how offensively pressured Paul was here. They just said, you know what? I'm going to sit there. Even if they have things that can hurt me, my Fire, Water, Grass core on my team can deal with so much of their things. I just have to continue to pressure and apply a little bit of damage little by little. Make their attack go down. Kind of whittle my way through their team. And that's exactly what they've been doing. They did it with Urshifu, with the super effective attacks from Rillaboom. They did it now with their own Urshifu. Incineroar has been here cycling through like it's laundry day on Tuesday afternoon. Just making sure they are intimidating. And now it's Raging Bolt time. Raging Bolt is here and is going to do a lot of damage. They are Terra Fairying by the looks of it. And now neither of these dragons can do super effective damage on it anymore. Just putting us through the spin cycle. Sorry. Come on, Paul. But even a bad matchup could be won, in my opinion, when you have the right tools. And some people might be like, well, you know what, Grape, this isn't really a bad matchup. Paul had the advantage because he had Raging Bolt balance. That's always a good thing. Francesco had a lot of super effective things into Paul's team. Francesco had a lot of good tools into the team. But for some reason or another, they decided that, hey, The way that this is going down, we're just kind of being defensive. That's all I saw from them. I never saw them try to make any big plays. I never tried to saw them to apply more pressure onto anything. They went for hell a bunch trying to set up, but didn't actually do anything because Paul was just cycling in and out that Incineroar. Paul played perfectly. We're going to watch a replay here. Dragon Pulse and everything going through, and he just ended up canceling the battle, deciding, you know what? There's nothing I can do. I have 2 Pokemon. They have 4. There's nothing that I can do about that matchup. I want to go back to semi-bracket right here, right? This is your last match for Francesco before you can say, I am going to be a finalist at EUIC. Paul has been here before. They've been in similar situations. They know what it's like, right? And you can tell that experience is there. Paul knows that they have to win, knows that the matchup might not be their favorite matchup in the world, that they have a lot of things that they can do against them, right? You didn't see Paul bring Fluttermane. They didn't want to see who's going to paralysis, what's going to happen here. Let's see, did Paul have paralysis on his Fluttermane? What did Paul have on his Fluttermane? Yeah, Thunder Wave, Icy Wind, Protect, Moonblast. They saw that wasn't going to cut it. They didn't want to play the paralysis games. They went straight for things that they knew that they could work with. They didn't ever bring Ogre Pump Heart Flame. They're like, you know what? I'm going to whittle everything down with my core, my Fake Out Bros, my Incineroar that's broken that they can't protect in front of. If they're trying to set up, too bad. Incineroar is going to be here for that. I'm not going to try to set up crazy until I know that I'm ready and that there's nothing they can do about it. And you could see how they played. On the other hand, Francesco, like I was mentioning, has tools, right? Extreme Speed, Iron Head, Chimpow never came, even if it was for the Sword of Ruin ability. I get their Sash. They don't want to be in front of a Urshifu. They don't want to be really in front of a Incineroar. But they're still super effective into that Rillaboom, and they're faster. So maybe there could have been an opportunity for them to bring it, right? Thunder is basically Thunder Waved everything that they could. But Paul was getting all the Protect turns correct. Gouging Fire, I personally think it's a fraud. I know a lot of people love it. It doesn't do enough damage for my liking, and your best bet is setting up the physical attacker next to you with Howl. But if someone like Paul is playing against you that knows how to use Incineroar correctly, that's not going to matter. And you're actually not even going to get that far with it. Maybe you'll keep yourself afloat, but you're not going to set up to the moon and be able to take advantage of it. Ting Lu, Earthquake, Throat Chop, Terra Blast. We didn't see enough about it, right? With Terra Blast, it could have done some big damage to Rillaboom. With Earthquake, it could have done some big damage to Incineroar, and it could have done some big damage to Raging Bolt. But we didn't see it. Their own Urshifu. Sorry about that. Surging Strikes, Close Combat, Aqua Jet. We saw how much damage passively Paul's Urshifu was doing. The mindset, I think, wasn't there for Francesco. He was just kind of playing on the back foot, protective, and was never trying to make those big plays like I mentioned. Paul, I am rooting for them for the whole thing. I want them to win. I've always watched them. My first regional I ever watched them, it was Paul Chua versus Nicholas Morales in the finals, I believe, and that was a treat. It was the first time that I really understood, man, there's some people out here just like Wolf, because I started off watching videos from Wolf that are just so good at this game that can come in and do a lot of work. And in my mind, I was a little in awe because, Nicholas came in, won their first regional they ever attended. And I was like, wow, this is something newcomers like myself might be able to do. Later on, I found out that Nicholas is newer to going to regionals, but they've been playing for such a long time and have a draft history. So they're not like brand new players, right? Like I was at the time. So beautiful to see this from Paul. Excited for them. Nicholas Morales was actually at this EUIC, which is interesting. Anyways, tomorrow we get to see them go up against another player. We will be making a video about that in a bit as well. I will catch you guys on the next one. Tell me what you guys thought of my analysis. I'm very new to this, so please be kind. But yeah, tell me if you agree with me. Maybe Francesco was too passive, or maybe just the experience that Paul has was more than enough to kind of get him through all of this. I think Francesco had the better matchup. Let me know what you think. Maybe you think Paul had the better matchup. Opinions are welcome in the comment down below. Like, subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. I'll catch you guys in the next one. I'm out.